What's going on YouTube? And I'm launching up the Facebook. What's going on Facebook? Thank y'all for joining me so much. I want to give you my reaction and a breakdown of the Joe Biden Omicron speech that he had today. I watched it because I was wondering what he was going to do, if more lockdowns were coming, if they were going to try to do some sort of Orwellian travel situation like they're doing in Canada, where you can't fly and travel without the injection. But it doesn't look like that happens. So I guess, I got to start with the good news is Joe Biden. I'm going to tell you what he said because I wrote down and took notes on his whole speech. But it looks like he's not interested in locking down again. It looks like he's not interested in going back to March 2020. And it looks like he's not looking to close any businesses, which is shocking. But it's good news because every time he opens his mouth, my stocks crash. And I just invested a few months ago. So he seems to love to crash the stock market. This speech did not crash the stock market, or it probably shouldn't, because he seems like he's bullish on keeping the economy open. Thank goodness. That's the good news. The bad news is he's a train wreck, and I took notes on it. Let's go through it. Before I go through, I just want to say this because I have a whole breakdown of his entire speech. Okay, folks, I got it all written down. I could pretty much say what he said. But the first question, so right before I went live, I watched the whole speech, which was miserable, and I do it so you don't have to. But the first question somebody asked, they said, "Is it a failure?" And this is the gaslighting that our government, and it goes left and right too. It's not just Biden, although I would say he's probably the most garbage. But someone asked him, "Is it a failure that you didn't have rapid tests available right now?" Because he's talking about all these tests. I'm going to go through his whole speech in a second. But they said, "Is it a failure that you were not ready for this moment right now?" And Biden's answer roughly was, "It's not a failure. This happened so rapidly in the next month. I don't think anybody could have," talking about the rise in cases, "I don't think anybody could have predicted this." This is what he said. I don't think, nope. It's so stupid. Look at the COVID chart from last year. Okay. Look at November, December, January. You're going to notice that COVID spiked the highest last December, last January, and it's going to spike this year in December and January, and it's probably going to spike next year in December and January. Just like, I'm not saying it's the flu because it's not, but this is not out of like the scientific realm to understand that in the winter, the formerly known as flu season, this is when where respiratory illnesses seem to do the most damage. This has happened my entire lifetime. But Biden's response to the media was, nobody could have possibly, this isn't a failure on my part, because nobody could have predicted the rapid, increase in cases in December and January. I predicted it in June. Joe Biden, you want to know how I predicted it, dummy? Because it's the winter, dummy. And I don't know, my guess, this was a educated guess, I guess, dummy, was that maybe in the winter, cases might spike like they did last winter, dummy. Just like for other respiratory illnesses, although different, it happened my entire lifetime. So this is how dumb they want people who watch their channel to be. Like, I didn't fail because who would have known in December cases would rise? I mean, I couldn't have saw that. Just look at the chart from last year, dummy. And you could see when cases rise, it might be, a trend. It's unbelievable that some people like this. And before I start and go through the reaction, it's so Orwellian watching it on YouTube. There's like 40, 50,000 people watching it live. There's only 500, 600 up likes, and there's no down likes. They took away the down likes. They said, oh, there's creators who are getting their feelings hurt. No, we know why you took away the down likes, YouTube. It's because Big Pharma's unpopular. Biden's unpopular. Every video I ever saw of him had way more down likes than up likes. And it was a proper tool to figure out how good, tutorials were, or information, financial videos. The up like, down like was a perfect tool. They didn't take it away to help me or individual content creators. They took it away because now when Biden does a speech, it seems more legit than when 20,000 people or 10,000 people down like it. And you're like, wow, nobody likes this guy. It's so obvious. It's like we're living in a big pharma, Orwellian, authoritarian hell, hamster wheel that they just want to keep going forever. It's just so embarrassing. But I'm going to read the speech real quick before I get into my reaction. Besides his, I didn't fail because who would have known cases would have risen in December? I knew. And I'm not that smart. I just figured, I don't know, last winter they rose to the highest level. Maybe this winter they will. Maybe that's something that has happened. Again, it's like, who listens to this guy and like thinks like, oh man, he's really smart. He just didn't know that winter would have a rise in cases, so he wasn't ready. Then you're incompetent, dummy. All right, I'm sorry. All right, let's get to it. So I'm going to go through just a quick briefing of the whole speech. Luckily, no travel bans, no more travel bans, rather, no, no closing down businesses, no tanking the economy. He's probably scared that nobody likes him. So he's like, yeah, I'm good for business. Like, whoever still believes me, like, I swear I love America and stuff. But he's coughing throughout the entire speech. He's like, it's like, we get it, bro. You got to cough. I feel bad. He probably should just retire. But anyway, he started out shaming the unvaccinated right out the gate. He said that the vaccinated can enjoy Christmas but should still wear a mask. He then went from shaming the unvaccinated to shaming non-booster shot getters and was like, if you're vaccinated, you're good, but you got to get your booster. He must have said that like 6 times. My favorite part of the speech, I have to be optimistic, was he said, "Are we going back to March 2020?" He said no. I was like, thank God he's not trying to bring it back to the lockdowns. He gave his reasons for why we're not going to go back to March 2020, because you have to understand Biden is peddling this small group of people who still believe him. You have elderly people who watch Stephen Colbert and CNN, and they're losing it a little bit. He's got people that are so afraid of this virus that they somehow think Joe Biden's going to save them from it. So he's probably trying to balance in his head, like, how do I not lock down and add more restrictions, but at the same time convince my brainwashed audience that still likes me and believes in me that I'm somehow helping them? So he said, this is not March 2020, which he's right about, thank God. He said more than 200 million Americans have been fully vaccinated. Impressive. For the vaccinated, he said most will have no symptoms or or they'll just have common respiratory symptoms. But of course, he said the unvaccinated, like he wants you to know that you're at very risk for everything and you're a horrible person. So if you don't want to hear from Joe Biden, I'll tell you what he said. He thinks you're terrible if you don't get vaccinated. He thinks you're amazing if you got vaccinated, but not as amazing as people who got booster shots. That's what he thinks. He said we have enough gowns, masks, and ventilators. He says we should keep schools open. And he said we should keep schools open because you can get your 5 to 11-year-old vaccinated. He said be concerned about Omicron, but don't freak out. He's adding some new steps if you cared. He's setting up vaccination and booster efforts as if there weren't enough sites now. He's adding 10,000 new vaccination in January because I don't know if you guys knew, so I'll let you know. There's a vaccine available. I know. It's my public duty to tell you because I feel like in my audience, people don't even know. It's like, what's a vaccine? Let me educate you. So there's 3 different vaccines. I don't know if they're still giving out the Johnson & Johnson one in America, but you got the mRNA, the Moderna, the Pfizer. I think the Pfizer one's FDA approved. The Moderna's not, but they're still giving it out under emergency use authorization. I just wanted to let you know because I don't think you've heard enough that there's a vaccine available. And I feel horrible for people in America who desperately want to get vaccinated for free. And they just somehow can't figure out how, despite the fact that every celebrity, every social media, every application, every politician, and everybody all the time always is shouting in their face, there's a vaccine available. In case you didn't know or couldn't find one of the already astronomical amounts of places to get vaccinated, Joe Biden wants you to know, don't worry, he's setting up 10,000 new vaccination sites. And I know what you guys are thinking. I know you're thinking, well, I've only heard the vaccine sale 1,000,000 times or 5,000,000 times, and I know that there's more, but don't you wish that FEMA got involved to add even more vaccination sites? I know you're thinking that, so don't worry. President Slow Biden is opening FEMA vaccination sites and directing FEMA to open even more because nothing makes me feel more secure inside than having my wildest conspiracy theory from 5 years ago come true and FEMA setting up vaccination sites while they're mandating it on workers and students, because that just makes me feel really good inside. My gut starts bubbling like I just drank a kombucha. You know what I'm saying? I feel all bubbly. I'm like, thank God. Because if FEMA's not setting up sites, I don't know if I could sleep at night. So that's good to know. He said a word to parents: if your children are not vaccinated, please get them vaccinated. He said 6 million children, 5 to 11, are vaccinated. If your kid is under 5, it could be a scary time. And while we wait, he wants to make sure that you get yourself fully vaccinated and boosted. Get everyone around you vaccinated, he says. Mask up indoors because Joe Biden wants you to know if your kid's under 5, I know how desperate you probably are to inject him with synthetic mRNA to build a spike protein or whatever it does. So the best thing you could do is just get everybody vaccinated and boosted. He wants you to know that. Don't be afraid that your 4-year-old can't get vaccinated. Just run around like a maniac and tell everybody you know what to do. Um, he said young kids are rarely impacted at that age, but they could be further protected if everybody surrounding them is fully vaccinated with the booster. The longer the virus is around, he said, the more variants are going to form, which is an interesting thing to say because I don't believe any of the data anywhere in the world, literally anywhere, proves that this vaccination is going to eliminate the virus or stopping people from getting or spreading it. The data on it right now says that you have a lower chance of being hospitalized. So he says the longer the virus is around, the more variants form. So get vaccinated, despite the fact that these vaccines are probably better, mRNA injections. I don't know the technical term, they're always changing it, but in general, he's saying, you got to get vaccinated because the longer this is around, it's like, well, even if the whole country got vaccinated, the virus isn't going to disappear. So I get what he's saying, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense for that particular point. But I don't think he's trying to really make sense. He said, let me say this again, please get vaccinated. He shamed unvaccinated some more over hospitalizations. He said, Omicron is potentially deadly for the unvaccinated. He said, unvaccinated are responsible for making their own decisions, but they're fueled by misinformation on television and social media, and that these people are making money. Also, the CEO of Pfizer and Moderna is making money. And I'm just curious. Listen, I'm not a rich person, but if I were the CEO of Pfizer and I want to let people know this isn't about money, it's not about my bank account, it's not about buying another yacht or me having a bigger salary. Why does the CEO of Pfizer? Why are they accepting so many profits? Why don't they take their profits and give them to people that got displaced because of the pandemic? I think that would be very proving. So if the CEO of Pfizer wants to impress me, I don't think taking millions of dollars and taking pay increases and getting all these profits really proves that you're a moral person. I think donating 100% of your profits to somebody else would really, impress me. So you should do that. If not, stay off the television. So, real quick before I wrap it up and give my response, he said more testing. He's going to start giving next month. Private insurance will cover at home testing. He may provide some that don't have insurance, and federal government will set up more testing sites. I know you guys are desperate to just get tested all the time, so there's going to be more. And this is maybe the biggest announcement. He said federal government will purchase 500 million rapid testing sites free to your house. So I'm so glad we have a federal government because it's like if big government's not taking your tax money and spending it in ways that you wouldn't spend it, what's the point, right? So they're going to be purchasing 500 million new rapid test sites for your home. This way, more and more people will get tested. There will be more positive cases, and they can continue this hamster wheel forever, I guess, until the viruses eventually disappear, or maybe it never disappears like the flu. Although I know it's a different type of virus, I'm just saying maybe it'll be around forever and it'll spike in winter and they'll act like they're oblivious or something. But 500 million rapid testing sites free to your house, free money, free testing, free vaccines. Everything's free, folks. It's just a free world, except for the fact that inflation's going up like 9, 10%. So we're losing money, but at least they're just keeping us in this constant hell loop of like big pharma. The whole world revolves around pharma. It's like there's no other conversations. We're not talking about working out, exercising, being a great country, building stuff, building dams, building bridges, you know what I'm saying, making a new train, going out to space like they claim that they can't for some reason, find the technology that they had in 1969 or whatever when their cell phone was like worse than a calculator, whatever they tell people with the tech. It's like we don't talk about doing anything great anymore. It's like this is one of the worst things about this. It's not even like, oh, this or that. Like our whole world revolves around big pharma. It's like big pharma captured the minds and the entire planet, and we just have to live in this constant like hell loop. Like we're living, the whole world's a hospital now, and we're sitting in the emergency room and they just won't leave us alone. They're like holding us to ransom. But in general, before, I don't want to bore you, he said, they have to prepare hospitals for what's coming. He talked about 40 unvaccinated adults. And I'm going to translate that because Joe Biden is an idiot. So he misspoke. He meant 40 million, I believe, adults are unvaccinated. But because it's Joe Biden, he said 40 unvaccinated adults. I was like, hey, that's not bad. There's only 40. So, according to Biden, there's 40, but I think he meant 40 million. He just doesn't speak right ever. So I thought that was pretty funny. He's mobilizing 1,000 troops to deploy, expand hospitals or whatever. So that's the gist of it. Overall, I want to say uh, I'm happy to see that he didn't add like some sort of Canadian plane ban. He didn't tank the stock market, at least not this second. He seems like, he's trying to please both sides, but I expect nothing of Joe Biden. So the fact that he didn't like do anything worse than he did, I'm not mad at the speech. See, I wouldn't listen to him talk ever, but I thought maybe he was going to do something worse, so I wanted to tune in. So that's the gist of the speech. I mean, to me, the smoking gun is the first question. I'm glad I stayed tuned. I'm going to repeat that just so I want people to know this and think about this. I'm going to say this. I don't care if you got vaccinated. I don't care if you're unvaccinated. I don't care if you got the booster shot. I don't care if you get the booster shot every time the CEO of Pfizer tells you to. I'm not judging you, your family. I don't care. Outside of vaccination, whether you're vaccinated or not, he's trying to tell people who believe him still that it's okay that he's running behind on testing. And I'm not even a fan of mass testing like that. But in general, he's saying it's okay that I didn't get this in time because who could have seen this coming? The rise in cases in December. Who could have seen it coming? Google or DuckDuckGo, COVID cases USA. And you could see last December, you have a spike in December and January. That's the highest on the chart. This December, January, it's the highest. And if COVID's still around next year, it's going to be the highest probably next year. Do you know why? Because this is not new. This is like, if people can't understand this, I'm sorry to repeat myself, there's no chance for you in the intellectual discussion of anything ever. Just put on a dunce cap, sit in the corner, stare at the wall, and listen to whatever music you want, and just stay there. But also eat and take care of yourself, because I don't want someone to literally do that and then sue me and be like, Anomaly told me to sit here until I starved to death. No, I'm just kidding. Don't wear a dunce hat. You get what I'm joking. But in general, if you don't get the gaslighting of who would have seen this coming, and it's not just Joe Biden, he's the worst, but people in the Republican Party that just want to run around and be professional vaccine salesmen the rest of their life, they're trying to convince you as if nobody in the planet, Biden, Fauci, they got all the experts ever. No one could have seen the December spike coming, but I saw it coming. The idiot Facebook, YouTube guy, who just says so. I'm not an idiot, but you get what I'm saying. Come on, folks. Like, are people this stupid? Like, your entire life they called it the flu season. Now that COVID's around, it's a season where COVID rises, and he wants you to believe that nobody on the planet could have predicted this. Like, just give up at this point. And I'm not saying literally give up, but like, come on, folks. This is like, you could tell a kindergartner this who can't read and is dyslexic, and like they could read this clear. Floyd. Never mind. I don't want to go there, but I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just, come on, guys. Like, I shouldn't even be here. This is ridiculous. He didn't say a single word like I talked about the other day, Joe Rogan and DeSantis. He said nothing about early treatment, nothing. He said nothing about monoclonal antibodies. He said nothing about catching it early. He's trying to paint this narrative where, and I'm not saying he said this, but he's trying to paint this world through his little like sneaky politician speech where if you're vaccinated, you're going to be fine. If you're unvaccinated, you're going to die. You're terrible. And there's nothing else to the equation. An honest person, me myself, I have feelings about the data. I've read it. I've researched it. I made my own decisions. I have feelings about it. But if I were the president, which I never would be because I'm not that big of a piece of trash to get there, but in general, I would, if I really wanted to save lives, I would say I was Joe Biden and I believed as much as he believes in the injections and I wanted everybody to get injections. At bare minimum, at some part of my speech, I would say, but here's the thing, even though it's rare, there are still going to be thousands upon tens of thousands upon hundreds of thousands upon eventually millions of people, whether vaccinated or not, will get sick. And if you really want to beat this thing, you should try to make sure that you get to early treatment and talk to a doctor. Don't just take something, make sure it's prescribed to you and it's a doctor that has a license, etc. But they're painting this world as if it's vaccinated versus unvaccinated, and there's nothing else available. There's nothing there. There's no such thing as approved monoclonal antibodies. There's no such thing as early treatment. None of that exists. Regeneron, which they funded, I believe, with Operation Warp Speed. So there's money there too. None like this is the world they're painting. Doesn't matter how fat you are, doesn't matter how skinny you are, doesn't matter if you work out, doesn't matter if you sit inside with a mask on, there's nothing else that matters with your health. This is the world that they're painting. Doesn't matter if you just slurp on soda every day, never drink water, like nothing out there. They want to paint this big pharma authoritarian hell world where you should just be scared out of your mind and all you should think about is getting boosted, 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 getting your kids vaccinated, boosted, boosted, shaming people who don't get it, living your life in misery, isolation, masked, testing your whole life like you're just like a walking virus patient. Even if you have, vaccination, you still should get tested out. Like this is literally hell. And it's like, to have my respect, I know he doesn't care about my respect, but it's like, I'm not going to tell you not to sell the product that you all clearly want to sell, but talk about diet, talk about fitness, talk about exercise, talk about the importance of a healthy social life, talk about the importance of a mental mind state. Even if you're physically healthy, you might not be mentally healthy. Talk about early treatment and talk about how it's important if somebody's really, really sick to get treated early rather than wait 14 days so you can put them on a ventilator in a hospital. He so clearly doesn't care about this. And just like Peter McCullough said on Joe Rogan, they are 100% vaccination and 0% anything else. It's not like 95%, 5% or 50-50. It's like 100% this, 0% this, and anybody who disagrees with me is misinformation, conspiracy theories. There are approved treatments, and I'm not telling people to get it. Talk to your doctor, talk to your local physician, etc. But this guy so clearly doesn't care. And at this point, it's just embarrassing. You have two parties ran by, no offense, we love our elders here. Anybody watching, I just want to say real quick, if you're 70, God bless you. Let's give a round of applause to our 70-year-olds. All right, if you're 80 years old, God bless you. 80-year-olds. Hey, if you're 80, there's almost 5,000 people watching this. God bless you. We love our 80-year-olds. If you're 90 and up, if you're 100 and up, yeah, just imagine 5,000 people cheering for you right now. Woo, we love our elders here. God bless our elders. We love them. Stay healthy, stay blessed. You deserve the world. But our country's being ran essentially by two 80-year-olds who it's like, dude, they're just like big pharma vaccine salesmen. You got vaccine salesman Joe Biden. Every time he talks is vaccine, 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 vaccine. You're going to die without it. Vaccine. He doesn't talk about anything else. The whole world revolves around this vaccine. There's nothing else. Don't build a bridge. Don't do this. And then you got Donald Trump, Grandpa Moderna, the vaccine salesman, who is just a right-wing vaccine salesman. Bill O'Reilly, I got the booster. You should get it. It's so great. Don't question it or you're playing right into their hands. Take credit for it. You're a special boy. And then you go to your email and he's like, donate to me, Patriots. You have 5 seconds left to donate, 40% off Trump booster bucks. Give me your money. It's like, stop giving this disgusting vaccine salesman your money. He's like, give me your money so I could just run around Fox News Media and sell vaccines. It's like, bro, does anybody have a personality? Like, they don't have any personality. They're just old vaccine salesmen. The country's being run by two 80-year-old big pharma puppets. I'm tired of it. It's like, at least DeSantis talks about something else. He sells the vaccine too, but at least he has a personality. He's like, hi, I'm Ron DeSantis. I might be a little bit sneaky. Yeah, I might pass a speech law or two for Israel when I'm kissing the wall. Yeah, I might do a little dirty deeds for like another politician, but I'm at least going to have a personality. I have a family. I have a wife and kids. Early treatment. You'll come get your monoclonal antibodies. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna fight against critical race theory. Like Ron DeSantis has a personality and clearly at least a soul, more of a soul than these other idiots. And like Trump and Biden are just like 80-year-old vaccine. They don't even have anything to say anymore. And people cry about on my show all the time. They're like, but he says like, think about like the framing of it, where it's like, if you're saying, hey, what's going on in Australia is wrong. What's going on in America is wrong. You're talking about it for 10 minutes and then you sell the vaccine. I wouldn't even care that much because I'm like, I get it. He's a politician, whatever. But it's like 95% of Trump's entire existence right now is Donald Trump, the mRNA pump Trump vaccine salesman. It's his whole life. It's all he talks about. And then he says, freedom or whatever. It's like, dude, he doesn't give a crap about your freedom. He's a boomer who's like, puts too much like hand sanitizer on and he's afraid of viruses or something. But it's like, dude, I'm so tired. We love our elders here, but I'm so tired of our country being run by 80-year-old vaccine salesmen. I want to build bridges, okay? I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're 500 pounds. I don't talk about how fat Joe was or Big Pun was. I just listen to their music. I don't care how big Biggie Smalls was. his music slapped. I don't care how big, Fluffy was, Gabriel Iglesias. He got fat, he got skinny. Listen, just make me laugh. I don't care how fat you are. We love our obese people in this country, but it's like at a certain point, there has to be more to this world than just talking about vaccine sales. Like, I don't care what people do. I don't care how much they work out. I don't care what medicine they take. I don't care what food they eat. I don't care if you do CrossFit. I don't care if you do vegan. I don't care if you eat steaks every day. Although I'm not nutritionally eligible to tell you what to do. But there's got to be more. We got to build bridges. We got to play sports. We got to do something. We have to like be a great country, make great art, build great cathedrals again. Like, we're just going to sit in this vaccine world for the rest of our lives? Let's just talk about vaccine 99% of the time. Let's let the federal government fund testing forever. Let's just live a life of hell forever. It's like, let's get over this crap, okay? Take care of yourself, do what you can, take the medication you want, but this is never going to change because you have two wings of the same bird. You have slow Biden, the stumbling, coughing, degenerate 80-year-old politician who could barely speak straight. You have Donald Trump, Grandpa Moderna, the vaccine salesman who just likes to talk about himself. And then you got people who hate Donald Trump and people who like Donald Trump. I feel like I'm in kindergarten again. And it's like, Johnny told Susie that my knee hit the wall in kickball. It's like, tell Susie to shut her mouth. No, I'm just kidding. But in general, it's like, get over yourself. Be like, yeah, I love Trump. I did everything for him. I give him money. I'm a patriot. I listen to Michael Flynn on the pod. I'm like, cool. Wow, so cool. But like at a certain point, we have to move forward. And it's like I didn't choose for them to act this way, but I feel like I'm in kindergarten. Like, but I hate Donald Trump and I want to get my booster forever because if I get my booster, the conspiracy theorists will really shiver in their boots. Like, no one cares. No conspiracy theorist cares how many booster shots. Like, and it's like, do people do things for the right reasons anymore? Does anybody like think anymore? Or is it like kindergarten where it's like, well, if Trump does this, I'm going to do the opposite. And it's like, why? Get a personality. Like, you're just going to do the opposite of Trump. You go on someone's like Instagram profile. They're like, I hate Trump. If you don't like Trump, I don't like you. And it's like, get a life, get a personality. Like, your whole personality is you hate people who hate Trump. You have too much. You're not a liberal. You have too much hate in your heart. You're not a hippie. Hippies don't hate people because of their politics. And then you have people that define themselves by Trump. They're like, I don't care if Trump's a loser. He's my loser. Promo code, give him all my money so he can just blow it on freaking, Mitch McConnell. It's like, get over this stuff. I'm so tired of it. But I don't care. I took a break from social media. And now everyone's saying what I was saying 3 months ago. Trump, like, everyone's like, oh my God, he's going too far. He's like, he's a loser now. But, that's the Biden speech without going too much. I'm just personally tired of a left wing and a right wing. I don't care who gets it or not, but stop talking about it all the time. It's a mental thing. It's like you breathe life to what you give. Let's talk about health. Let's talk about wealth. Let's talk about prosperity. Let's talk about the full scope. And we're never going to get out of this like medical hellhole because there's certain people that are making a killing off it. Politicians off of this constant emergency are getting more power, are getting, authoritarian like rule over their people. And you have companies like Pfizer and Moderna who this is their product. I mean, I'm not trying to be controversial. It shouldn't be. It's just basic common sense. If you're Ford, your job is to sell cars. Excuse me. If you watch television and they say, hey, are you fat? And I'm like, me? Well, no, I'm not fat. I'm just kind of building bulk for the winter. It's like, are you fat? If you're fat, here's a fat pill for you. If you swallow this pill enough times, you're going to look like this lady. She's like, I used to be fat and now I have 8-pack abs because I took this pill. There's all this stupid crap on television. I'm just being honest. That's their market. They need there to be fat people in order to sell the pill. I'm not saying they want people to be fat, but I am saying if people weren't fat, they wouldn't be able to sell their fat pill on television. So their target audience is fat people, and they couldn't exist in a world without it. With that being said, I'm talking about this vaccination. If COVID was eliminated, and I'm not saying it can be, but like if it was eliminated or people weren't afraid of it, they wouldn't make as many sales. This is their business. This is their job. So, this idea that it's a conspiracy theory that they don't want this to end is the dumbest thing ever. It's literally their business in the same way that cereal companies want you to eat their cereal. Fat pills want you to take their fat pill. fat pills would not exist if people were all had 8-pack abs already. So just like these vaccines would not exist if there wasn't such a mass demand. But there's a mass demand because of massive pumping in the media. Um, and also, to be quite frank, because of the mandates and the exclusion from society without it. So this idea that this is just going to spontaneously stop, they have this new cycle. They've shifted the whole world. Testing companies are making a fortune, vaccine companies are making a fortune, politicians are getting away with literally anything. It's this whole new business that's created, and they're very aware of it. Like, talk to somebody that works for a big pharma, or talk to somebody that works for a testing company. Do you think they're sitting around being like, "Oh, we don't even spend money on advertising because like we don't care what happened"? No, they're it's like a whole new world that they've created that they're just going to keep sucking and pushing in, because it's like the more tests they sell, the more money they get. The more the government buys it, the more money they get. The more this lingers on, and the more you can approve and emergencies authorize a certain thing, the more people will get it. Maybe it lasts forever. There, if you don't understand the gaslighting of, we didn't know this was going to go up in winter, who could, they're going to do this forever. Every winter. I said this 8 months ago, and I'm not acting like I'm that smart. It's just like every winter my whole life was flu season, flu season, flu season, flu season, flu season, flu season, flu season. Every winter, flu season. It goes up, the graph goes up, and then it goes down, and then it goes up. It's a roller coaster forever. Do you know why? Because to this point in time, there is no cure for the flu. We've never seen a cure for the flu, no matter how hard they tried. So there's a spike every winter. And now COVID comes, and it's up in December, and it's up in December. Here's a crazy idea. It might be like that the rest of your life. So are you going to live a life of big pharma, hamster wheel, authoritarian hell for the forever? Or are you going to realize how seasonal illnesses work and grow a freaking brain? Grow it in a plant, like a plant. Put a seed in your head or something. Hopefully you grow a brain. They got brain seeds. Does Elon Musk have brain seeds yet? I know he's got Neuralink. He's trying to, bring your family back to life or something. But it's like, can we get some brain seeds for people to grow a freaking brain so we don't have to live the rest of our life like this? It's so obvious. So that's my thoughts. Let me know yours. God bless you. I'm gonna hang out for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and that's what it is. They're getting both sides. So 2022, we're gonna keep our vision straight, focus on ourselves, get way too jacked for the gulag. I gotta get stronger. I gotta have 8-pack abs by next year, or else I'm gonna just get scared and sit in a corner with a dunce cap and put my mask on, and maybe I'll wear a diaper over my head and diaper under, just in case there's a new variant that makes me poop myself. No, I'm just kidding, but you get it. I'm just trying to be funny. Let me watch myself. They're like, I got a warning on Facebook the other day. They're like, you were trying to sell medical products. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I don't sell medical products. Did I make a joke or something? Like, they're so stupid. Like, I don't sell health products. What are you talking about, you idiots? Like, they're so stupid. They don't care, but whatever. Someone say, hey, Anomaly, how are you doing? Chill. Great to hear you still on the ball. Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas. Merry Christmas. Someone said, "Can't wait for keep FEMA camps." I know, it's so exciting. I'm hoping my worst conspiracy theories come true. It's like, dude, I loved camp when I was a kid. I would go to camp. My mom would drop me off at camp. I would love an adult FEMA camp. You know what I'm saying? Just hang out with the bros, get too jacked for the gulag, maybe shoot some hoops. Shoot the shit. Excuse my language, but you know, FEMA could put on a good camp. Maybe there could be kickball, foursquare. Let's see what happens. Someone said my 69-year-old friend just recovered from the Omicron variant. He said it was better than getting the usual flu. God bless your friend. Listen, we want everybody to be healthy. We want everybody to recover. We don't wish death on people here, okay? People are starting to do that too. People that are vaccinated are like secretly like, you're going to, and then people who are unvaccinated are doing it to vaccinated people. They're like, wow, it's like, dude, come on, guys. Like, we got to stop doing this. Wish for the best. Whatever decision you made, live with it, stay healthy. It's created this new thing. Like, we needed another one. Left, right, black, white, red, blue. Now we got vax versus unvax. Give me a break. Someone said, "Why don't you camp now?" I'm a camp counselor. Okay, this is welcome to Camp Anomaly. I'm already a camp counselor at my own camp. We're at camp right now. We got 3,300 people. Someone said, "Opinion, could this be the end of the pandemic?" I'm just gonna say it was not as bad. Biden's speech was not as bad as I thought. He didn't announce something crazy Orwellian. It sounds like they're trying to move forward, but it's like a thing where it's all a mindset. Like for instance, on television, I don't care if you're 1,000 pounds, although I wouldn't recommend being 1,000 pounds. That sounds unhealthy. And I don't care if you're in physically fit or too skinny or whatever. I don't care. But here's my point: somebody's buying these pills on television. If they try to sell you a fat pill, someone's buying it. And I'm not saying, I don't suggest anything, talk to your doctor, but I would think there's probably a better way to lose weight than the television commercials. But who am I to judge? But the point I'm getting to is if you don't buy it, they don't sell it. So a lot of this is like they need to open the economy again. They seem like they're trying to, but enough people are buying it, so they're going to keep selling it. That's where self accountability comes in. Whether you got it or not, people got to stop. If you buy into this world, hey, I'm buying into this world. I'll get tested every week. I'll wear a mask for the rest of my life. I'll get vaccinated every 4 months. They're going to keep selling it. So that's just what it is. People can do what they want, but like I have my stance of where I draw the line. I'm not testing. I wouldn't get tested to go on Joe Rogan. I wouldn't get tested to go to Hawaii. I'm not getting tested to go to a sports game. I'm not an animal. I'm not a slave. I'm not a sick patient everywhere I go. I'm a healthy individual. And when I'm sick, I stay home. But I don't buy into this new world of you need to get tested all the time, everywhere. And that's the only way to be healthy. It's not. I'm sorry. How to be healthy would be teach the kids how to exercise, you psychopaths. Childhood obesity is on the rise. Why? Because there's a 100% focus on vaccinations and big pharma and a 0% focus on diet and exercise. So you're hurting these children. Who cares if they get they got their booster shot? Well, if Susie's 250 pounds, she's going to have some issues down the road, whether she gets the jab or not. So, and that's just science. I'm not being mean. It's just like it's mean to raise childhood obesity by about 10% and make kids suffer for the rest of their lives because they're too big and their bodies can't handle it and their organs can't handle it. It's like they're not making kids healthier. So, if people keep buying it, they're going to keep selling it. But I'm not a sick patient all the time. Getting tested every week is not doesn't show you how healthy you are. It shows you that the PCR came back negative and they've determined that you don't have a heavy enough viral load in your body. But that's not what health is about. That's like one part of a pie of a larger pie. I refuse to get. I wouldn't get tested for work. I wouldn't get tested for if they said anomaly. You can't keep your Facebook page. You're going to lose all your money, all your followers if you don't shove a PCR test up your nose. I wouldn't do it. That's my stance. And if people had half of and I'm not telling people what to do what you want. That's my personal choice. My personal choice is I'll get tested when I want to get tested. I've gotten strep tests, I've gotten blood work. I will continue to do that when I want, but I'm not going to get tested on a weekly basis because people are going to treat me like a piece of trash because these testing companies are making millions of dollars and they want to it's like, dude, there's been things that have been contagious before, or so they say. There have been concerts, there have been this is not, kids have been sick all the time in schools. This is, it's like, get what you want to get and then get back to, we're never going back, at this rate, because everybody's such a pushover. They're like, I'll wear a mask for the rest of my life. I'll work at Fox News and get tested 7 times. It's like, why? You're like an abused show animal. You remind me of like a cow on like a conveyor belt. Like they're just taking you to the slaughter and you're like, it's fine. They're just prying. It's like, yeah, if you want to live that way, but I won't. Someone said Newsom parties mask free. I haven't seen it, but who wants to wear a mask when you're hanging out with people? Like it's not like, oh, there's no negatives to this at all. It's just great. Do you see my smile? It's part of me. It's part of my personality. My mouth, there's words that come out and there's science behind, putting a barrier in front of your face. Can you hear me? This is called communication. Facial expressions. These are all facial expressions. It's part of communications. It's part of who you are. It's part of your genetics. It's part of your identity. It's part of your heritage. It's you. It's who you are. And now you have a barrier in front of your face. They can't see your communication, and it's way harder to hear people because there's science behind barriers in front of your face. That's not there's a collateral damage to this that they're not even talking about. You think Gavin Newsom and London Breed want to? She sounds like a rapper, but you think they want to wear masks when they're hanging out and partying? Nobody wants to wear masks when they're partying because it's not partying. You might as well just sit in your house and watch the Golden Girls, which I love. I'm just saying. I love the Golden Girls. But in general, shout out Betty White. I heard she's turning 100. Like, oh yeah, this is so great. They don't like who likes this? Like you're lying to yourself or you hate yourself if you're like, no, this is how I want to be for sure. Like, why don't you put your mask up a little more? I don't think that's far. You should put it up over your, not literally, this is not medical advice, but as a joke, yeah, put it up over your face so you have no identity. And then they'll just replace you with a robot, which at this point, they probably should. At this point, I wouldn't even care if humans got replaced with robots. I'm not trying to be like pessimistic, but it's like, you don't even deserve, you don't even, you gave up your face, you gave up your mouth, you gave up your ability to communicate on a full level. What's the point? You might as well just get replaced by a robot, sit home and play video games and get universal basic income because you're not impressing me. They might as well have a robot. Hey, sir, I can't see you, lady. You're like you look like a glorified like slave at this point. And I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like at this point, you might as well just sit home, get your universal basic check. You're not impressing me. I can't see your face. I can't hear you. You're a faceless zombie. You're like a slave. You're like, can I help you? Yeah, I mean, you could get my food, but I can't listen to you. I can't hear you. I can't see you. I don't respect you. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like you're a nothing to me. Like, and it's not me being mean. I can't see you. Like, what is this? Like, hey, what? Like, it's just eyes. All that's what I see. I see eye. Like what? Like, hey, how are you doing? Like, just go home and go home and get your government money and let a robot take the job because a robot has more of a personality than you do at this point. And I know bosses are forcing people to do it, but like, what? Going to a restaurant with people whose faces are there versus a faceless restaurant, it's like the difference of being free in a prosperous society versus being in an enslaved society where people are literally slaves. And it's like you don't notice the difference in energy, in voice, in presentation. It looks like you're in hell. It's stupid. But people are like, I got to do it. It's like, okay, then do it forever, I guess. But at a certain point, who wants to do that? Somebody that hates himself and wants to cover their face, who's like, oh, this is better like this, dude. I look scary. Like I guess I always look kind of scary, but like I look creepy. It's creepy. Everybody knows it. It's super creepy. It takes away your communication skills. It takes away your smile. Smiles are the universal sign of being happy and making others happy. They are making you miserable. People, I can't believe so it's like, yeah, the pandemic is over in the sense of they're going to keep the economy going, but this new normal of living in a biomedical security hell hospital room, it's not, why would it go away? Whatever. I've said enough. Someone said you didn't see Trump getting the booster. You heard him say that. Yeah, dude, I don't respect trust. I don't respect Trump. I don't trust Trump. I don't like Trump anymore. I don't believe him. I don't know that I believe he even got vaccinated. He's a big pharma salesman. He's playing CEO, he's playing businessman, and his business is big pharma. He takes big pharma money. He works with Pfizer. He's a big pharma salesman. I don't like him. I don't respect him. I don't trust him. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't get the shot and he's just selling it, which would make him an even bigger dirtbag. But, he's a clown. Anybody that doesn't think so, they cry, oh, Anomaly, he's my friend. Then whatever. Go follow him and donate your money to him and vote for him again and live in a medical hell because he's not even trying to help you and he's working for the other side. He's like textbook controlled opposition. Literally do the same thing as Joe Biden, just say freedom or whatever, and figure out every way I can to convince people he's not even concerned about what's going on. He's not like, well, this is really bad that this is happening and I stand against it. He's like, let me sell the product they're using against you for 50 minutes and then just say freedom or whatever. So the sheep that follow me with MAGA hats really think I care about that. It's like he's not even pretending to care about you. That's the thing. Like sometimes politicians are acting like Joe Biden's an actor, and he's like, hey, like, I care about you. And you're like, he doesn't care about you, but he's pretending to care about you. Trump doesn't even pretend to care about you anymore. He's literally just talking about vaccines all the time. He's like, me, myself, vaccine. Like, he's not saying, man, there's nurses being fired, like Ron DeSantis is saying. I should say something about. He doesn't even pretend to care about you. Like, how, at this point, how pathetic do you have to be to sit there and just take it from this guy and be like, I'm going to defend him, even though he doesn't even dedicate like 3 minutes in an hour speech to caring about me or my family or healthcare workers or people being, abused by the biomedical security state that he ushered in. He is a Trojan horse for communism. He's textbook controlled opposition. Cry about it if you want. Go run to him if you want. Like everything else I said in a year and a half, everybody who cried and, oh, I'm sorry. Can I apologize now? You were right. I just don't want to hear it. Whatever. I don't care anymore. He's so obviously a horrible person. All right, someone said heard Candace interviewed him. Yeah, I would love to see it. It sounds like she gave him a pretty good interview. It sounds like she asked him about Julian Assange and certain things. So I hope she grilled him. But in general, you got to give it up to Candace. She asked about Julian Assange. These are questions that people need to ask her. Candace did her job. Her job is not to just give him softball questions. Every Republican should ask him questions. Here's some questions. If you're a Republican and you get to interview Trump, like Candace did, here's some questions to ask him. Ask him about the VAERS report. Ask him what he thinks about that. Ask him what he thinks about his tweets before he was in office about autism. Just ask him. See what he says. Ask him if he really thinks that 100 million people alive were saved. Ask him where he got that data. Ask him about Sweden when he said Sweden was doing so bad and they're doing better than America. Ask him why he was bad-mouthing Georgia and Brazil for having a laxer approach on lockdowns. Like, grill this guy. Everybody, it sounds like Candace asked him some good questions, but everybody at Fox News, they're just like, hey, Trump, oh my God. Like, dude, be a journalist, be a news reporter, ask the guy some questions. This is the clown circus that we're caught in. You got, either Trump is being asked stupid questions by left wingers. They're like, Trump, why did you kill so many kids at the border? And it's like, what? It's like, that's the little dynamic that got you in. Stupid questions from the left, fluffy questions from the right for the most part. Somebody's got to ask them the legit questions. Be like, just ask them. Be like, because I don't even know what I think of it yet. But what do you think of the VAERS report, Trump? Do you believe it? Why don't you believe it? If you don't believe it, like, do you think it's a thing? Like, see what he says. I'm genuinely curious to see what he would say. All right, I got 2 or 3 more minutes. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Gianna. I appreciate it. Someone said, why do people ask stupid questions? Well, I could tell you why. There's a lot of people that they're not really like, I don't want to overanalyze it, but there's a lot of people that I feel like at Fox and stuff, I'm not going to say who, but they're just entertainers. They're not journalists. They don't even claim to be. They're not news reporters. They don't really care about like you. You know what I'm saying? They care about their salary and like they care about like being the guy. I'm sure they'll get tested twice a week if they had to. I'm sure people at Fox would do whatever they had to do to get the booster shot, whatever they had to do to get that position to just sit there and make generic jokes about Ilhan Omar or whatever. They're not interested in like breaking the two-party system. They probably benefit from the two-party system. The blue guy yells at the red guy yells at the blue guy, the red guy gets more ratings because the red guy's more honest than the blue guy. I don't think a lot of people in right-wing media are interested in breaking the left to right thing because they make a killing off it. I'm not blaming these people because I'm just being honest, but like, say Antifa shows up to Ben Shapiro's event, and I'm not knocking Ben Shapiro, but I'm just saying that generates more revenue, more money. Oh my God, they're harassing him at the event. Now it becomes a bigger spectacle. I'm not saying he purposely does that or anything. I'm just saying there is a benefit in keeping certain things alive. And I don't even think Ben is involved in that. I'm just saying like certain people at Fox News, do they really want to get to the core of what's going on and solve it? Or do they want to just sit there and crack jokes and, suck up to the people that give them money and just badmouth people that don't and just, play it's like a court jester. It's like someone said fake fights. I'm not trying to be mean, but Fox News is filled with fake fights. It's like, here's Juan Williams to argue with Judge Janine. And it's like, why are you? And it's like, yeah, Juan Williams sucks, Or like Geraldo Rivera. You're like, here's a half Hispanic guy pretending to be fully Hispanic who's, gonna tell you that, illegal immigration, you're a Nazi if you don't. It's like he's a he's a court jester. He's like just a guy with a mustache who just sits there and he's like, I remember a interview or a debate he did with Michelle Malkin, and he was trying to akin enforcing illegal immigration years ago. He was trying to akin Michelle Malkin to a literal Nazi because she was against illegal immigration. And this guy's on Fox News, it's a fake fight for sure. But God bless y'all. Appreciate you. I got to run right now. Thank you for listening. I'm glad Biden didn't shut the country down again. It seems like he didn't tank the economy. That's good news. I expect nothing from Joe Biden, so I'm happily impressed by his terrible speech because he didn't impose new restrictions. It was just funneling federal money to testing, which is garbage, but whatever. So overall, not as bad as it could have been. But it is what it is. That's my analysis of it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. God bless you. I might be back. I might not until after Christmas, but have a wonderful one. Enjoy your family. And my message to you is regardless of what you do medically or health wise, I believe you should have a beautiful Christmas and you shouldn't look down on yourself or others for, lacking in a department, whether it be in certain medical injections or other. I think you should enjoy yourself, enjoy others, and not treat your family like dirt, regardless of what they do with their health. But that's just my thought. Maybe you should listen to Biden and treat everybody like garbage if they don't do what you do. I don't think so. I don't think that's what Christmas is about. But once again, this is not medical advice, and I don't want it to sound like it. Have a good Christmas. God bless you, and I'll see you soon.